working on them, not purifying myself from them. Those diseases, those vices of the heart. I don't purify, I do those things. And then I say, this president is causing bloodshed. May God curse him. Yes, he is far from the mercy of God. I'm oppressing, God forbid. Would I not do the same thing if I'm in that position? Let's be very careful. Starts from home. Before we point the finger at anyone, let us not be amongst those who curse the enemies of Imam Hussain alayhi salam and act their actions. Let's be very careful. Lead by example. Followers of Ahlul Bayt should be the best characters in their circles. Imam Salih alayhi salam, in a beautiful hadith, he says, if you are, to one of his companions, he says, if you are in a city, in a town, and there are 100,000 people in that town. 100,000 was perhaps the biggest number for them. They should see you as the best if you are one of our followers. The best amongst all these people. So think about it, in New York City, or whichever part of the town you live in, you should be the best. Lead by example. How do I become the best? Akhlaq. The etiquettes of Ahlul Bayt. That's what we need to develop. These majalis should be gatherings of learning the etiquettes of Ahlul Bayt. Akhlaq wa Ahlul Bayt. So people look at us and say, look at these followers who are, this is literally almost word by word the words of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. He says, then people will look at you and say, may God have mercy on their leader and teacher. كونوا لنا زينا ولا تكونوا علينا شينا. Ornament us, do not be a cause of shame for us. This is what the Imams Ahlul Bayt say to us. We gather for Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Do we beautify his name in the way we are? In the way even we gather? Are we accepting of others in our gatherings as we gather in the name of Imam Hussain alayhi salam? Simple. Look at what happens when somebody comes that is not from us, doesn't look like us. How do we behave? Are our hearts open and therefore doors open and we embrace them, we welcome them? Or do we start becoming judgmental? I've been in gatherings, my dear brothers and sisters, and I've spoken to people who came and were repelled. Came for the first time and then said, oh, people were so judgmental and so on. Let's be very careful. Imam Hussain alayhi salam chose for his companions that we say salam to them. People, if we were in charge of admission to his party, we would never accept them. Some were Christian. Another was on the path of Uthmaniyul Hawa. Some of them were amongst the slaves. And you know how some of us become, when we see a certain type of people, or people of a lower class, for instance. The Imam was so accepting of all. In fact, he chose them. Almost like handpicked them on his journey to Karbala. Some of them he went to their tent. Zuhair ibn al-Qayn, the Imam went to him, invited him. Initially he was hesitant. It was his wife, according to some narrations, that said to him, the son of Rasulullah is inviting you. How are you hesitating? The Imam went to them, visited them, called them, chose them. They became leaders of all times. And we need to follow them. Be leaders. Every one of them is a leader. Therefore, every one of them on the day of Ashura stood and gave a sermon or spoke. Anyone who had the chance. They asked Imam, Hussein alayhi salam for permission and went and spoke to their people. Some of them addressed everyone. Some of them stood and addressed all the people. Some of them went and spoke to their own people, whoever they could speak to. Leadership. The best course of leadership is this, are these majalis of the Imam. And they should produce the most powerful leaders. If our leader is Imam Hussein alayhi salam, don't be doubtful of that whatsoever. Let us go to our hearts, to Karbala. These days are heavy on the hearts of the Imam of our time and the hearts of the Imams of Ahlul Bayt. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Sallallahu alayka ya ibna Rasulillah. يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة غريب يا مظلوم كربلاء. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, visit Imam Hussein جائعا عطشانا شحة مغبرا. Visit Imam Hussein hungry, thirsty, disheveled and dusty. This is how the Imam was martyred. فإنه قتل جائعا عطشانا. Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam, every time he was offered food, he would start crying. Perhaps only eat what he needs to survive. He would say, كيف آكل وقد قتل والد الحسين جائعا. How do I eat when my father, Master Hussein, was martyred hungry? How do I drink when my master and father was martyred thirsty? On the day of Arba'in, Jabir was reciting a ziyarah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. It is narrated that he had seen the Prophet the night before. He saw the Prophet. He says, رَأَيْتُ رَسُولَ اللَّهِ. He was disheveled, covered in dust, bareheaded, without his amama and any head cover. I asked him, what is it, Ya Rasulullah? He says, he answered me, O Jabir, I have just returned from the burial of my son Hussein. It was then that he awakened and set on a journey. He came, visited the Imam. These were his words. He says, after calling the Imam, he says to him, how could you answer when your veins have been severed and your body separated from your head? Then he says, Ashhadu annaka, I bear witness you are the son of the seal of the Prophet, the son of the leader of the believers, the son of Fatima, the first lady of women of all times. You were pure in life and pure in death. Yet the hearts of the believers are not at ease with your loss, though they have no doubt about the goodness that God chose for you. Then he says, peace and blessings of God, As-Salamullah alayk, Ya Aba Abdullah. I bear witness, you departed upon the same path as your brother Yahya, son of Zakaria, alayhim as-salam. In the land of Karbala, when they returned, every one of them had their own way of visiting their martyrs. All of them gathered at the grave of Aba Abdullah. Some narrate that Imam Zainul Abidin, upon arrival in Karbala, approached Lady Zainab. Perhaps she looked confused. She said to him, "Oh, son of my brother, take my hand, for my sight has faded." Being in the land of Karbala, Zainab Salamullah alayha had so much pain and tears. He says, I guided her to the grave of Aba Abdullah. She started reciting, Wa Hussaina, Wa Akha, oh my brother, oh Hussein, did they wash you or shroud you, or did they bury you without a shroud? She began to pour out her grief about her journey to him. The women gathered, asking Imam Zainul Abidin, each of them after being at the grave of Aba Abdullah, the master, asking him for their loved ones. He would point to them where they were buried. One of them came to him, the mother of the infant child, Ar-Rubab, came to him. She asked him, Ya Sayyid al-Sajidin, where did you bury my infant child? He told her, go back to the grave of Aba Abdullah. He is buried on the bosom of his father, on the chest of his father. Salamullah alayhi. So much pain, Imam Zainul Abidin realized if they stayed any longer, they could not bear being in that land. It would be dangerous for them. He announced departure from Karbala. They left, but left their souls behind. Eternal love forever bound. They turned away, yet hearts remained in grief, in love forever chained. Their tears became the desert's rain, and every breath whispered, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah العلي العظيم. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا آل محمد أي منقلب ينقلبون. نسألك اللهم وندعوك باسمك العظيم الأعظم العز الأجل الأكرم إلهي بمحمد وعلي وفاطمة والحسن والحسين وبالتسعة المعصومين من ذرية الحسين، استجب دعواتنا يا الله يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم يا مقلب القلوب، ثبت قلبي على دينك.